All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're looking at something literally unprecedented in modern football. We're going to frame Lionel Messi's historic 2026 World Cup bid through a really fascinating lens, crafting a legendary documentary film. Because let's be honest here, his entire career arc plays out exactly like a Hollywood script. You've got the agonizing defeats, the triumphant returns, and just moments of pure, unadulterated magic on the pitch. Oh, and real quick, dear viewers, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share, and also make a comment you think is right. It really helps us out. So, think about it like this. Imagine a documentary filmmaker staring at a hard drive bursting with thousands of hours of raw footage, trying to mold it all into one cohesive, gripping story. That is basically us trying to process Messi's sprawling, two-decade career. It's a massive undertaking. To pull this off, we're going to borrow three core documentary scriptwriting steps: watching the footage, building our selects, and structuring the story. We're using these to analyze what's shaping up to be his ultimate football finale. We've got to sift through all the noise to find the real narrative.
Here's our agenda for today. First, scripting the final act. Second, reviewing the footage. Third, assembling the cast. Fourth, structuring the story. And finally, the final edit.
Section 1. Scripting the final act. Setting the stage.
Every great film needs a hook, right? A central premise that just grabs you right away. Well, our premise for 2026 is wild. The defending champion, battered by years of intense competition but finally victorious, comes back for one last, almost impossible run. Because by the time the 2026 World Cup kicks off across the US, Canada, and Mexico, Messi is going to be 39 years old. 39. That makes him the oldest outfield player to ever represent Argentina at a World Cup, passing Diego Maradona's legendary record. This isn't just another tournament cap. This is a high-stakes final act that pushes the absolute limits of human endurance.
Now, in documentary filmmaking, before you even touch a video timeline, you do what's called a paper edit. You basically take all your raw facts, quotes, and data and organize them into themes to find the core story, the narrative backbone, if you will. To really grasp what's on the line for Argentina in 2026, we need to do our own paper edit of Messi's legacy. We have to organize the sheer weight of his history to see exactly why this upcoming tournament is such a big deal.
Section 2. Reviewing the footage. A legacy in numbers.
Step 1 of our doc process, reviewing the footage. And honestly, when you look at the raw data of Messi's World Cup career, the numbers are just staggering. 26. That's how many World Cup matches Messi has played so far. More than any other player in the entire history of football. That's 2,314 minutes on the world's biggest, most stressful stage. Think about the hours of navigating high-stakes pressure, brutal tackles, and immense global scrutiny. It's a volume of battle-tested experience that literally no one else on the pitch can even touch.
Just look at this historical timeline. It's a story of almost superhuman longevity. We're talking about a journey that kicked off when he was a teenage prodigy back in 2006, which feels like an entirely different era of football, right? Then he moves through the heartbreaking near misses, the golden ball in 2014, evolving into that seasoned playmaker in 2018, and finally reaching the mountaintop as world champion in 2022. By just stepping onto the grass in 2026, he joins a highly exclusive club of only 5 other players in history to reach 6 World Cup tournaments. That is 20 years of sustained, world-class excellence. And when we put him side by side with the other absolute titans of the game, a really fascinating picture emerges. Okay, sure, Miroslav Klose might have more outright goals with 16, and Pelé famously holds 3 World Cup trophies. But look closely at Messi's combined numbers. With 13 goals and 8 assists, he has generated 21 total goal contributions. That perfectly illustrates his absolute dominance across the whole pitch. He's not just a pure poacher waiting in the box, and he's not just a deep-lying playmaker. He is the ultimate dual threat, actively carrying both the creative and scoring burdens against the toughest defenses on the planet. If we break down those 13 goals, it reveals his immense tactical versatility. We've got 6 from open play, weaving through elite defenders. We have 2 perfectly placed free kicks, and crucially, we have 5 from the penalty spot. In fact, he boasts an incredible 83% penalty conversion rate at the World Cup. I mean, think about the psychological weight of a World Cup penalty, an entire nation's hopes resting on a single kick. When the pressure's at its absolute peak, when the whole world is holding its breath, he delivers.
Section 3. Assembling the cast. Finding the supporting characters.
As any acclaimed director will tell you, a star absolutely cannot carry a blockbuster movie on their own. They desperately need a capable supporting cast. So, documentary scriptwriters always ask these core questions. What do the main characters want? What do they actually need? And what's at stake if nothing changes? Messi naturally wants to defend his title, But what he truly needs to pull that off at 39 is a squad that can shoulder the heavy physical load. He needs guys who can sprint when he needs to walk and press aggressively when he needs to conserve energy.
Which brings us to this incredibly vital number, 28.62. That is the projected average age of the 2026 Argentine squad. What we're seeing here is a fundamental changing of the guard. A younger, highly dynamic generation is stepping up right now. And why does this matter so much? Because they provide the legs and the lungs required for the grueling, high-tempo reality of modern international football. They do the heavy physical lifting, which perfectly complements Messi's unmatched footballing IQ and lets him operate exactly where he's most dangerous.
So here is that crucial supporting cast. On one hand, we've got the battle-tested Premier League veterans from that incredible 2022 run. Guys like Alexis McAllister, Lisandro Martinez, and Enzo Fernandez. They know exactly what it takes to win at this level. But on the flip side, the squad is actively injecting these exciting, hungry young prospects into the mix like Nico Paz and Valentin Barco. This specific blend of steady veteran leadership and explosive youthful energy, that is the classic, proven formula for deep tournament runs. It gives them the depth and spark to survive a brutal month-long campaign.
Section 4. Structuring the story, tension and obstacles.
Every compelling documentary, every great story, desperately needs conflict. Filmmakers generally use a loose three-act structure to hold it all together: the setup, the tension, and the insight. For Argentina heading into 2026, the tension in Act 2 is incredibly stark. Winning a World Cup is widely considered the hardest thing to achieve in global sports. But defending it, that requires overcoming an almost impossible wall of historical resistance and pure physical exhaustion.
To show you exactly how rare a successful title defense truly is, let's look at the history books. In the near century-long history of the FIFA World Cup, only 2 nations have ever managed to go back-to-back. Italy did it way back in the earliest days of the tournament in 1934 and 1938, and Brazil, led by the magic of Pelé, achieved it in 1958 and 1962. That's it. It has been over 60 years since any nation has successfully defended the world crown. That is the towering, historical mountain Messi and Argentina are trying to climb.
And modern data analytics entirely backs up how intense this upcoming clash is going to be. Advanced AI simulators analyzing the projected 2026 bracket predict a massive heavyweight showdown, heavily favoring either Argentina or France to win the whole thing. Think about the narrative implications there. A potential high-stakes rematch of the 2022 final, which, let's be real, is arguably the greatest final in the history of the sport. From a storytelling perspective, that is absolute dramatic perfection. It's literally the ultimate final boss battle.
Section 5. The Final Edit. Tightening the Narrative. In filmmaking, the final edit is the most critical phase. It's where you ruthlessly cut away the excess and make absolutely sure every single frame on the screen matters. A brilliant documentary editor once noted that the final cut is about tightening things up so every moment earns its place. For Messi, we are watching this exact editing process happen live on the pitch. Over the years, he's systematically evolved from a player relying on explosive, chaotic, end-to-end dribbling into this highly efficient, incredibly intelligent playmaker. He literally walks the pitch to map out the opposition, finds the exact pockets of space, reads the game like a chess grandmaster, and strikes only when it's most devastating. Every single movement earns its place.
This final edit of his career is perfectly primed for success because real-world conditions have aligned. He now has a significantly reduced, much more manageable workload playing for Inter Miami and MLS, avoiding the relentless, grueling schedule of top European leagues. That keeps his legs fresh. Plus, he benefits heavily from cutting-edge modern sports science designed to extend careers. He has a deep, talented national squad that allows coach Lionel Scaloni to give him strategic rest, and above all else, he possesses the ultimate psychological motivation, the fiery desire to defend his title on the global stage.
We've reviewed the historical footage, we know the strength of the supporting cast, and we deeply understand the incredible, almost mythical stakes of this story. But reality isn't a movie script, right? It doesn't automatically guarantee a pristine, happy ending just because the protagonist deserves it. The tension is very real. So the question remains, can the greatest player of all time overcome the insurmountable odds, conquer the relentless passage of time, and script the perfect finale?